Trigger warning. Guys, please read the warnings as this episode might be very triggering. Cheating, near death, attempted suicide. Disclaimer. None of the songs, including intro, artworks, including thumbnail, or characters in the video are mine. This is not an accurate portrayal of the characters. This is not a defamation of character either. This is only for entertainment. Warning. Foul language, grammatical mistakes, typographical errors. Let's break up. Atsumu dropped the bags of presents he was holding. Wow, what? Omi, what are you saying? You're joking, right? Haha. Atsumu laughed as tears slowly fell from his eyes. I'm not joking. Let's break up, Mia. Atsumu flinched back at the use of his last name. Why? Atsumu asked shakily, and Sakusa just shrugged, not looking at the pathetic sight in front of him. What did I do? Tell me, Omi, please. You didn't do anything. I'm just done wasting time. What do you mean? We were not wasting time. Atsumu was shaking, his entire body on the verge of collapsing. Sakusa sighed with irritation. Look, Mia, we're done, okay? You crying there like a snotty baby won't change that. Now if you could please get your dirty self out of my house, that would be appreciated. Sakusa walked past Atsumu and further into the house, only for Atsumu to collapse on his knees as he embraced Sakusa's legs. No. Please, Omi, don't leave me. Tell me what I have to do. Please, I'll change. I'll change for you, just. Please don't leave me. I can't do this without you, Omi, please. I love you. I love you. I love you. Fuck. Let go, Mia. Sakusa struggled to get out of Atsumu's grip, only for Atsumu to tighten it, blubbering, please. Sakusa has had enough and kicked Atsumu away. He would have landed on his face had he not caught himself in time. Listen. Atsumu shook his head as sobs racked his entire body. I don't like you, okay? I've never liked you. In fact, I hated you. Atsumu shook his head again, choking wetly as he cried harder. No, you're lying. You're lying, Omi. Please, you're lying. Sakusa made a face of disgust as he saw tears and snot cover his ex's face. No, I'm not. You wanna know why I dated you? Atsumu sobbed but didn't reply. I dated you because you wouldn't stop bothering me. I dated you because I thought you would stop if I gave you a small chance. But you took the small chance I gave you and decided to run a mile with it, and you expected me to go along with you. I hate you, Mia. Now get the fuck out of my house. Sakusa stated the words with a calm tone. It wasn't shouted with emotion, just stated as if he's reciting facts. Atsumu shook his head in denial and got up to crawl towards Sakusa. No, Omi. Please, Omi. He kept reaching for him, clawing at his pants, begging him not to do this, not to break up with him, all the while Sakusa keeps on slapping his hands away. Sakusa has had enough and lifted Atsumu by his collar, opened his door, threw Atsumu out and slammed the door on his face. Omi, please. I'm sorry. Don't leave me, please. I love you. Atsumu banged on the door, screaming his throat raw as he begged for Sakusa not to break up with him through the door. When he didn't receive a response, he turned away from the door as he pulled at his hair to keep himself from panicking. He could feel the edges of his vision darken as the world swayed. He tugged his hair harder to ground himself, to distract himself from the pain in his chest. He looked around and noticed that there were people trying not to look at him, but their bodies still oozed pity. And Atsumu can't take it. He can't take the pain. His heart is being grinded to dust with every second that passed. He clutched his chest as he choked, gasping for air. It's so goddamn painful. He can't take shame above all of that. He can feel his chest growing tighter, his breath going louder as he struggled to take in one. And as he looked at his audience, their entire being oozing pity and judgment, Atsumu feels like he's going to hurl. So Atsumu breathed in air as much as he can with his heart and lungs twisted together. He breathed in hard, scared that it'll be his last one. And with that, he turned tail and ran. He ran and ran and ran and ran without any destination in mind, his tears making it impossible to see where he's going. He was startled to a stop when he heard a loud noise. He turned his head to the right and froze when he saw a car speeding towards him. As his entire life played slowly in Atsumu's mind, he closed his eyes in acceptance. Ikora tilted his head, zeroing in on the sight in front of him. Here he is right now, watching his boyfriend. his best friend, the only person he fully trusts, cheat on him with a girl on the couch he helped buy a day before Christmas. What he feels right now could be the same as what he feels on court. He's hyper-focused, the air is buzzing with energy and he can feel his entire body quivering. At the same time, it felt like the complete opposite. His focus is entirely on the couple in front of him, but his vision is blurred, wavering, like a camera held by someone with shaky hands. The air is harsh on his skin, piercing even through his pores. It felt like thousands of frozen needles is poking his skin. It's cold. So cold. And unlike on court, his heart isn't beating like crazy. None of that fire in his chest that spreads throughout his body. In fact, he feels nothing. No pain. No sadness. No anger. Just nothing. Cold. Empty. Hollow. Dead. The couple in front of him still hasn't noticed him. He figured he had to do something other than to stand there and watch, so he cleared his throat. The couple immediately jumped away from each other and he watched as HaikyuuxKnB paled while the girl blushed. Hi. Did he say that? That's weird. He doesn't remember opening his mouth. This is kind of awkward. The girl looked away with a blush as she covered herself with. HaikyuuxKnB smiles bitterly at this. HaikyuuxKnB's high school jersey. He didn't look at HaikyuuxKnB though. I'm HaikyuuxKnB by the way. Ha. He doesn't remember having such a deep voice. He remembers it as high-pitched and whiny. Osami. The girl mumbled. Nice to meet you, Osami-chan. I'm HaikyuuxKnB's best friend. I was supposed to surprise him for Christmas since I know he'll just sulk alone. HaikyuuxKnB chuckled and so did the girl. But I guess I'm the one who was surprised. It's my fault though. I'm the one who barged in uninvited. HaikyuuxKnB doesn't feel anything and he knows that's wrong. Why? Why won't he feel anything? He knows he should feel something, but it felt as if his heart was scooped out of his body until there was nothing left but a gaping void in his chest. He scratched his head and smiled at the girl. Well, I should get going. You guys enjoy your day. He walked towards the table on the living room and dropped the presents he bought for HaikyuuxKnB. I'm returning this HaikyuuxKnB since I don't really want to see this ever again. As he leaned down to put the keys on the table, his and HaikyuuxKnB's eyes met and he saw horror and pain there. A spike of anger appeared in HaikyuuxKnB's chest. How dare you? You're hurt. You're horrified. What about me? How do you think I feel? I'm the one who got cheated on. HaikyuuxKnB didn't say anything though. The anger in his chest is being sucked into the void. It's cold and hot. Nothing yet everything at the same time. He stood up properly and smiled at the couple in front of him. Merry Christmas. With that, HaikyuuxKnB turned around, picked his stuff and walked away. HaikyuuxKnB waited a few minutes by the door. Not for HaikyuuxKnB no, but for him to feel something but utter cold and emptiness. He started walking away from the apartment and walked in a daze. He stopped and looked to see where he is. What a beautiful sunset. He was near a cliff. A view deck by the looks of it. Mesmerized. He walked towards the sunset. Towards the edge. As he walked closer, he focused less on the sun and more on the edge. That's what I have to do. I need to get away. Away. Far away from HaikyuuxKnB. Far away. Down. Where he won't find me. Where I can't see him. Down. Deep down. HaikyuuxKnB dropped his things on the ground as he walked closer and closer to the edge. Atsumu turned his head to the right and froze when he saw a car speeding towards him. It took him half a second to process what was happening. His body trembled as he closed his eyes and accepted his fate. His memories playing right before his eyes. As the few seconds stretched to play his entire life, he noticed a lot of things. Mainly, how cute Osamu was when he was a kid. How clingy he was to his older twin. How much he cried back then. Then Sakusa appeared. From the moment Atsumu set his eyes on him, he was already half in love. Then they started dating and Atsumu can't help but ask himself, why did I tolerate this? It was glaringly obvious how toxic their relationship was. He should have seen the signs before. He can't help but be mad at himself for letting someone treat him like a doormat. Then like a shining beacon in the darkness, the colorful heads of the M&M mob flashed briefly and Asumu smiled lightly, gripping tight on the happiness he felt in his last few days. Then he was being pulled harshly away from the road. Are you insane? What do you think you? Atsumu-san. Atsumu, tears still spilling from his eyes, couldn't see who was holding him. I'm sorry. He collapsed, unconscious as adrenaline left his body and pain, shock, and despair came crashing back in. Haikuuux stood on the edge of the cliff, looking down. He lifted his head up and admired the view once more before closing his eyes and letting his body go slack, slowly falling down before an arm circled his waist and pulled him back. Haikuuux blinked in confusion, not fazed by the sudden action. Haikuuux-san, wow, what are you doing? He didn't realize at first that someone was on top of him, pinning him to the ground. Haikuuux didn't answer. He just kept on staring at that stranger. No, not a stranger. Haikuuux knows this person. He knows who this is. Who is this? When he couldn't figure out who it was, he looked away and stared longingly at the sunset, at the cliff. The person on top of him made a choked sound. Haikuuux-san, please. The person on top of him pleaded. For what? Haikuuux doesn't know. It was the tone of voice that really caught Haikuux's attention though. The words were said with so many strong emotions, despair being the most obvious. And Haikuuux had to wonder, who are you to care so much for me when the person I trust the most couldn't even be bothered to try? The person stared at him with such profound sadness that Haikuuux, for a split second, felt something in his heart. He raised his hand and cupped the person's face. The person cupped the hand on his face and intertwined it with his. He lifted it slightly away from his face and pressed a kiss on Haikuux's wrist, his pulse. Haikuuux-san, please don't do this. Please. There are people who care about you, okay? Atsumu-san, Kise, Takao, Kuruka all care about you. I care about you. Even when I just met you. I care about you. Please don't do this. The person cried, and Haikuuux had a feeling that there was something wrong with the image. He knows that the person in front of him is strong. How he knows that when he doesn't know who the person is baffled Haikuuux. He keeps trying to remember who, but the only thing in his mind now is Iwaizumi, Osami, and the intense feeling of wanting to be as far away from them as possible. Haikuuux-san. Haikuuux smiled. It was fake, bitter and blank. It's been a while since people begged him to stay rather than demanding him to go away. It's been a long time since someone wanted me for me. If you're begging me so earnestly, then maybe I should live. Maybe, just maybe. He's not as unwanted as he thought. Haikuux's face scrunched up as stray tears finally fell down his face. He closed his eyes and fell asleep. The last thing he remembered wasn't the image of betrayal but the feeling of a rough yet gentle hand wiping his tears away.